Got some great boxing for you. That's the fight between Orlando Canizales and Ray Minus Jr.
InNet Supersport now brings you two international boxing events, starting with the recent IBF Bantamweight Championship between Orlando Canizales and Ray Minus Jr. The venue is Laredo in Texas, and we join the fight at the start of round 3.
This is round 3 of the world title fight from the hometown of the champion, Laredo, Texas. Orlando Canizales against Ray Minus. Solid 2 first rounds. Minus changing his tactics a bit, though, Michael Marley. In round number 2, started to move a little bit more. Not so much the standing target for Orlando Canizales. Will that change this fight in any way?
Well, you know, he's fleeing, but he's flicking. He's got to score points, and Orlando, of course, is looking for the knockout, as he does always. Minus is best. I think I see some blood on the lower lip area of Ray Minus. Looks like he's been bloodied on the lip a little bit anyway, Sam. But Minus has to stand and throw some punches at some point, so he can't just run. He's also got to jab.
If you are wondering about the knockout capabilities of these two fighters, fear not, they do possess that, either from a accumulation of punches or one big punch. 29 victories for Canizales, 23 by knockout. 29 wins by Minus. He has won 20 by knockout. So, yes, only 118 for Canizales, 117 for Minus, but they do pack a punch. And there's one thrown by Canizales. Minus in trouble trying to tie him up in the corner, warned by referee Barry Yates.
That's the 3rd time now that Canizales has hurt Ray Minus. And all those with single shots, Sam, so you can imagine when Orlando lands a combination, what might happen to Ray Minus.
You know, just looking at this style, one thing, you know, if Angelo Dundee had any hair left, he would probably pull most of it out. Watching the lunging style here of a Ray Minus. Sure, Sugar Ray Leonard would bounce and move all over the ring, but he did something with it. And Minus is not here today against Canizales.
Well, Ray Minus did start out the first round pumping some jabs, but now he's carrying the left hand a little too low, and he's afraid to step in simply because he's sampled the power now of Canizales.
Canizales kind of fainting with the right hand lead and then held off on it, mostly still with the left jab. You see the looping left hand of Minus.
Tell you about the great respect the challenger has for champion Canizales. Ray Minus told me the other day, Sam, that he thinks he's going in, or that he's in the ring now with, quote, perhaps the greatest bantamweight champion ever, and high praise for Orlando Canizales, and really a ton of respect. But Ray Minus said, despite all that, he thinks he can win.
I'm not sure if Canizales got to enjoy his other love in addition to boxing, and that is his fabled Houston Oilers were on national television as he prepared for this fight. Thought he'd have a chance to watch them conclude their game with the Giants before getting in, and now he's taking care of his business.
That's Orlando's signature punch, the left hook, and he's landing it now.
And there's the bell to end round 3. Round number 4 as the bell sounds. Orlando Canizales against Ray Minus in this IBF Bantamweight Championship fight. Sam Smith along with Michael Marley here in the border town between Mexico and the United States, Laredo, Texas, as we look on in the hometown of Canizales. Pretty much of a shutout on the unofficial card here by Michael Marley, as he has him in the lead by 3 points with virtual 10-9 rounds in the first 3. And pretty much carbon copies of rounds 1, 2, and 3. Not much change, with the exception of Minus doing a little bit more movement in round 2 from what he did in round 1.
Well, there you see he's off balance. We talked about it before, Sam. It's ineffective movement because he's not boxing while he's moving.
If you're wondering about how these two young gentlemen got themselves into professional boxing, it's 108 wins and only 12 losses for Canizales as an amateur, a 2-time Texas State Golden Glove champion, and lost in 1983 in the semifinals of the National Golden Gloves to Todd Hickman. Other side of the coin, an amateur record of 45-3 in the Bahamas for Ray Minus before turning pro. That probably in their mind at 27 for Minus and 26 for Canizales seems like 100 years ago.
Orlando's looking to step in. There he goes with that left hook again. That's the punch which he's registered the majority of his knockouts with. And so far, he's found Ray Minus extremely vulnerable to it.
Minus again, still just trying to load up for the one big punch. But Canizales doing a accumulation of punches that are paying some dividends here in this fourth round.
Another problem for Minus, he's off balance so much, and if he does get cracked by Orlando, it could be lights out.
There's that right hand. Canizales again digging the left, about chest high, just below the shoulders, and then over the top with the right hand. Crowd wanted a little bit of a call down for Ray Minus of hitting inside the clinch.
Well, at this point, Ray Minus has lost every round on my card. He's getting, his lip is split, Sam, and he's getting hit with everything. He's just outgunned so far.
It's also that little look on his face that he knows that he's outgunned against Canizales. Certainly that comment about fighting one of the best of the bantamweights is playing in the back of his mind. But he has to try to fight through that. Catches the left hand.
That's that left hook, Sam. That's Canizales' calling card.
This is Canizales' 8th title defense, and again, he is sharp as a tack today.
That's really the sign of a good champion, durability.
The bell sounds, and as round 5 gets underway, again...
No knockdown, Sam. Minus was just off balance.
He was indeed, even though the glove did touch. Barry Yates, the referee, right on top of it, indicating it was the slip. No knockdown in round 5.
So far, Ray Minus is disappointed that busload of about 35 Bahamians, from many of them friends and family. They flew from the Bahamas to Miami and then took a bus ride all the way from Miami to Laredo.
Trust me, the plane from Bahamas to Miami was the easy part of that one. Oh, my. A lot of sack lunches coming from Miami to Laredo. There you see a kind of a clubbing left hand by Minus.
That's really the first solid punch that he's landed really in the fight, Sam.
Came back with a pretty good straight left jab that Orlando caught. Now a looping right hand that is on Canizales' cheek. Just round number 5 of a scheduled 12-round title fight. Ray Minus trying to pick up the offense here.
This is the first time we see Minus forcing the action.
Minus, if he lacks in skills, you'd have to accredit it to the environment of very few boxing facilities in the Bahamas. They're every year trying to improve that, and Asim Brown, the chairman of the Bahama Boxing Commission, ensured that it would get better, and of course he does have to come to the States in the Angelo Dundee camp even to get a decent sparring to get ready for a title fight such as this.
Well, right now it's a trauma for the man from the Bahamas because Orlando Canizales is just nailing him with punch after punch.
We made mention that Orlando followed his older brother Gabby into the boys club here in Laredo. That's where they got their start. May not have been the greatest facility in the world, but it was a place for them to get out of the elements, get the gloves on, and do what they're doing very well, and that's becoming world champions.
Orlando just can't miss him with that left hook.
Minus again. It's like he's back on his heels a little, not so much on his toes as he was early on. Trying to prod in on the champion. Canizales bobbing, weaving, trying to find angles.
Could be a big mistake for Ray Minus if he leans forward and gets caught coming in. That could be the end of this fight. Sorry, Sam. Minus just doesn't have the requisite power to keep Orlando off. He's trying to slug it out with him, but he really doesn't have the power.
Orlando missing about the last 4 or 5 punches here so far.
Orlando set a much faster pace here than he usually does.
You have to think about going 12 rounds. And quite obviously, even though he got off to that slow start against Morales in his last one, a very quick start here this afternoon as we have fought through 5 rounds. And as the champion, Orlando Canizales opens the bell for the 6th round. He's out with a commanding lead on the unofficial cards here at ringside against Ray Minus, the Commonwealth champion from Nassau in the Bahamas. 27 years young, 117 pounds for this fight. 29-6-1 is professional record with 20 knockouts. But he is in with one of truly the best, Orlando Canizales. His fourth fight, by the way, as a pro here in Laredo, his second title defense.
There's
And
that
he has
left
got
hook,
Minus
Sam.
in trouble. Minus struggling to stay on his feet.
He's holding on for dear life, Sam.
Barry
That left
Yates,
hook exploded on him.
the referee, very much having to watch Minus now, as the right hand by Canizales has opened up a can of worms for Minus. And Canizales with a combination. Minus weathering the storm for a moment. A looping left hand just out of the reach of Minus by Canizales. Another one.
Now Orlando's playing it cool, and that's a sign of a veteran champion. He doesn't want to go hog wild here. Boy, that's some recovery by Ray Minus, because he was certainly groggy.
I tell you what, you could almost see even a sigh of relief in his taking a good deep breath a moment ago. He said, boy, did I weather that one.
I think he's still in a fog.
A little bit of spaghetti leg still. Kind of steps backward on the back leg, and it just almost gives away. You heard the three judges, of course, Ron Ralston, Frank Skilbreed, along with Benedetto Montella from Rome, Italy, who, by the way, is the new IBF European president. Will take over the duties in January 1, so we will see a lot of him in the IBF doings over in Europe, and our congratulations to Benedetto. Quite a very good friend of the world of boxing.
I don't think Ray Minus believes that he's still standing.
Maybe Canizales, by the same token, is wondering why he is as well.
Well, I think Orlando knows why. He cracked him with that left hook, had him groggy, but hasn't been able to land the follow-up. Ray Minus is probably wondering, Sam, whether this is a 5-minute round.
It probably does seem like a long, long time. Not knowing fully how much time he spent in that fog that he had to go through after getting clocked for the right hand by Canizales. That, by the way, was about a minute into the round, so you can see he's come back very well in the final two of this round. Round 6.
Ray Minus has plenty of heart.
Couple of title shots already have gone by the board, and he's finished the 6th round here, halfway through another title shot, but the champion is in command. Scheduled for 12 rounds, the IBF Bantamweight Championship fight. The champion, Orlando Canizales, and now there is some moisture in the corner of the challenger, Ray Minus, that is being mopped up across the way. Also a piece of ice that Mr. Yates does a little soccering to get out of there. There's also another piece right in the middle of the ring. Actually, a couple of pieces. Canizales right back where he picked up again. They are right on top of those ice cubes, and now Barry Yates has spotted them. So time stops for another time. Now he's got a second one he's got to try to find. The ice, by the way, is right on top of one of the white letters here, and now one of the judges across the way, I believe that's Mr. Skilbreed, got him to get it out of the way, and now we resume action here. You can hear the chant coming from the hometown crowd now.
They want a knockout, Sam. They won't be happy with a decision victory.
A staggering left hook by Canizales in the 6th round. Truly the big punch of this fight. Had Minus on his way down, but somehow he survived. A minute deep into the round, he made the full 3, and now here he is in the 7th. Double left jab that time thrown by Canizales. Looping left hand again. Canizales, even though the lot of movement by Minus, is able just to kind of step away, slipping a lot of punches right now. Everything got hit with a pretty good right there. Slipping a lot of punches here in the 7th round.
Well, Minus has to realize if he's going to get back in this fight, I've got him behind by 7 points now, Sam, through 6 rounds. I called that 6th round in which Minus was almost knocked down and out. I called it 10-8.
Canizales against Minus. By the way, there's another very interested spectator, IBF Junior Bantamweight champion Robert Quiroga, from nearby San Antonio, Texas, looking on here this afternoon in Laredo. Robert will be defending his title against Carlos Mercado of Colombia, undefeated at 22-0. That'll take place in February.
Excuse me, Sam, but Minus landed his best punch of the fight, a leaping right hand, but he really cracked Orlando.
Canizales, very focused in what he must do. Looks virtually unscathed here this afternoon.
I tell you, fighting before Orlando's hometown fans really hasn't affected Minus at all. He's a road warrior. He's fought in Scotland and in London, and you know, he's been on the road. There's no big fights really held in the Bahamas, not since Ali's last fight, the fight with Trevor Berbick down there. But so the crowd has not really been a factor.
And if you were with us from the start, there was a cascade of boos when Minus was introduced, so he knew he was in foreign territory for sure as the bell sounds to end round 7, a rather uneventful round here in Laredo. And the bell sounds to bring the champion Orlando Canizales off the stool for round 8 as he clocks Minus again. Ray Minus coming right in, and good combinations thrown by Orlando Canizales with another wake-up call in the 8th round. Minus leaning in. Orlando will happily oblige him here in a moment.
Well, it's good movement. If you know, if we were giving an award for aerobic dancing, Ray Minus would certainly get it, but he's not scoring points, and he's unable to with it. Nice right hand by Ray Minus. Sam, I gave the last round to Minus. First round I've given him in the fight. I thought he landed one cracking right hand, but he's really got to do more offensively. At this point, the only way Canizales could lose by my scorecard is by knockout.
And by the way, ended a shutout thrown by the champion in that unofficial scoring by Michael Marley. With Minus getting the last round, we're in the 8th round. Again, you may recall in round number 6, it looked like it was all over. A brutal left hand, left hook put Minus into his corner. He survived by holding on. In the next 2 minutes, survived, got a good deep breath, and is fighting on in the 8th round. Canizales, along with Minus, both may be scratching their head of how they are fighting on.
One interested spectator, I'm sure, watching this fight in New York is rising contender Junior Jones. Orlando Canizales mentioned him as a future challenger for some time in 1992.
You know, when talking to the Canizales camp, there is no real hurry or concern about any unification of any crowns in the bantamweight. They say, hey, we're going to take our mandatories. We're going to do what we have to do in the IBF. We're very comfortable with what we're doing, and we'll just let the cards fall where they may. And it is a very comfortably well-organized camp for Orlando Canizales, and that's got to be a comfort zone. And uncomfortable now is Minus as he got hit with a good right hand again.
Say this for Ray Minus, he's a survivor. He's been tagged repeatedly throughout this bout, and again, back in round 6, he was tagged, he wobbled, but he did not go down.
Canizales trying to walk his way in behind the jab. There you see him. He walked right in with a good right hand. A double left jab to set that one up. Little body shot inside. Minus kind of looked this way as another looping right hand. Boy, Minus came close to touching the canvas with a glove, which would dictate a knockdown in the round. But Barry Yates said no. And there's the bell to end the 8th round. Well, round 9 picks up where Orlando Canizales would like for it to, and that is throwing that right hand. He has moved into the 9th round against the challenger Ray Minus and is peppering away with some shots.
Well, Jesse Reed in Orlando's corner told him he wants him to mix it up upstairs and downstairs, and Orlando's doing just that.
Between rounds, the good camaraderie between champion Canizales and Jesse Reed. And how many times have you seen a disruptive corner be the undoing of a champion? It is not the case here with Canizales. Very much respect for both trainer and fighter as well.
And you mentioned respect, Sam. Ray Minus has certainly earned our respect, and I'm sure the respective spectators worldwide, because he came here to fight. He's in the champion's backyard, and he's doing the best he can. He's not able to match the power or strength of Canizales or the all-around skills, but Ray Minas has given it all he's got.
Ray now being trained by Rick Mandris, again with the Angelo Dundee camp in Hollywood, Florida. Mandris, by the way, is a former world champion kickboxer. He's from Toronto, Canada. Fought against John E. Terrio, one of the great kickboxers coming out of Canada. So he's a man that has been between the ropes, a rather unorthodox boxing, of course, having to throw some kicks as well, along with the punches. Canizales, what a business-like approach he has taken to this fight today, Michael. He seems to be doing exactly what he has wanted to do all fight long.
Well, as you mentioned, Sam, he's a big Houston Oilers professional football fan. Orlando seemed like he was more concerned about missing the Oilers game on TV than his own fight.
Of course, the Houston Oilers of the American football, as Canizales comes in with a touchdown of his own as he lands it right on the head of Ray Minas. Crowd encouraging Canizales to try to do something with it now in the 9th round. Interesting watching the three judges at ringside. Several of them use the numbering of punches on a hand, and Mr. Benevento Montello from Rome across the way, a very casual look at the fight, but you know inside the wheels are rolling as they're watching the points in the category for Canizales really mount up here.
Sam, I've got it 79-72, Canizales.
And you got to feel he's got to add another solid 10-9 round to this one. Closing
Brutal
seconds of the
body
night.
shot,
Yes.
Sam, yeah.
He has not thrown that much in this fight so far, Michael.
There's that left hook again, Sam.
Good combinations. Closing seconds of the night. Well, this will have the crowd on their feet at the end of the 9th round here in Laredo.
And now at the end of the round, Orlando with a brutal body punch, and then he lands a right hand, and Minas staggered into the referee. He was definitely hurting at the end of that round, was Ray Minas. So Canizales still gunning for the knockout, Sam.
They are scheduled for 12, and this is round 10. Sam Smith along with Michael Marley as we greet you on this IBF Bantamweight Championship fight of the world. Orlando Canizales in the blue. Ray Minas, the challenger, in the black.
Ray Minas is staggering now, Sam. He's definitely hurt, and Orlando's looking to close him out.
Minas in trouble in round 4. Really staggered with the left hook in the 6th. He fought reasonably well in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, not doing enough to change the scoring, but at least alive. And now in the 10th, you see the methodical style of Canizales again.
Sam, you used the right adjective, because that's what Orlando Canizales has given Minas, a methodical beating here today. Ray Minas is going to be sore in the head, the body, and all over for a long time.
Left hand, you see how well Canizales catches so many shots on the glove.
Again, we've given Ray Minas a well-earned red badge of courage, but boy, how he hangs in there. He's paying the price. This could be the longest 9 minutes of Minas's life if he goes the distance.
We had talked about the quickness. We had talked about the hand speed of these two fighters coming in, and I think you have seen it on both of them. Minas tried too early on. Even though he tried to slug with Canizales in round 1, he started moving a little bit more, trying to pick his places, but again, Canizales wouldn't have much room.
You know, Sam, it sounds a bit odd when you say it, but when you examine it, it's true. Sometimes it's better for a fighter, in this case Ray Minas, worried to be knocked out or stopped, because he's taking this methodical, persistent beating, and that's really going to hurt him down the line as his career continues.
Big left hand again has Minas staggering. Well, I tell you what, Canizales, you know there's got to be a little twinge of frustration in there, because, hey, he said, I've hit this guy with my left hook, and a lot of folks have gone down with that.
You know, Sam, we always look at the referee to stop a one-sided fight, but I think we also have to look to the corner. I wonder what Minas's corner is thinking about, that Ray Minas Sr. and Rick Mandris, because It would take a miracle for Minus to knock Canizales out, and he's really just taking a needless pounding at this point.
He is indeed, and it is almost a combination of at least 2-to-1 on the number of punches thrown and caught by Minus from the champion Canizales.
Again, no one in the Bahamas needs to be ashamed of their man, Ray Minus. He is a, you look under courage in the dictionary, you'll see his picture.
And there's the bell to end the 10th round. So we get ready for round number 11 as Canizales in the blue against Ray Minus in the black come out here for round 11.
Sam, seemed to be some kind of a disagreement over in the corner of Ray Minus as to what tactics Minus should be employing. It's really getting late in the day for Minus. My unofficial scorecard after 10 rounds, I've got Orlando up by 10 points, 99-89.
So as again, Canizales building up points. Accumulation of punches taking its wear and tear on Minus as well. And again, as we have talked about the big heart of Ray Minus, he is, to his credit, has stayed in there and tried to do his best against what he has called one of the best of all time in the bantamweight division. Canizales almost with a little cockiness about him right now, and I say that in a very flattering way because he knows that he has fought a good fight. He knows that he has done what he had to do today.
Oh, definitely. Canizales has dominated this opponent right from the opening bell.
Now Barry Yates again warning Minus for the grabbing on the clinches, slinging a champion around.
Well, it's a survivalist game now for Ray Minus as it has been almost from the start. He just is not able to deal with the power of Orlando Canizales.
Oh, good right hand. Minus is staggering. He's in trouble.
Out on his feet.
And it is over. Barry Yates says that's it.
Sam, an excellent call by Barry Yates. Ray Minus could have been badly hurt. He was out on his feet.
Now Barry Yates had to go over and defend his action over in the Minus camp, but again, we had pointed out in the 9th and 10th rounds alone that Canizales was giving Minus such a brutal beating. And I mean that by giving him an accumulation of punches. Yes, he was throwing some great punches, but again, it was an accumulation. And Minus was continuing to take it, and finally Canizales, watch the right hand that is the end of this fight. And you can see that Minus is out reeling against the ropes. His hands are down, and there comes Barry Yates. And that was a wise call by Barry Yates. Only his 6th title fight, but he very easily, with the safety of the fighters, and you could see he even hesitated for still another moment to make sure Minus was not going to get his hands up and was able to defend himself as Canizales was heading to the ropes to really finish it off. His young daughter, his lovely wife and family in the ring with him as they celebrate another one. Here's the official time of the knockout.
1 minute 45 seconds of the 11th round. Referee Barry Yates, he stops this contest. The winner by technical knockout and still the International Boxing Federation Bantamweight Champion of the World, El Hijo del Pueblo, Orlando Canizales.
Next up is the IBF Cruiserweight Championship of the World between the title holder James Waring and the challenger Donnell Wingfield. Let's join the ring announcer for the details of the fighters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Introducing first in the blue corner, the challenger, weighing in at 185 3/4 pounds, from Cleveland, Ohio, with a pro record of 21 wins, 10 by knockout, 3 losses, and 1 draw, ranked number 10 in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, Donnell Wingfield. In the red corner, weighing in at 188.5 pounds, from Miami, Florida, with a pro record of 12 wins, 8 by knockout, and 1 loss, three-time kickboxing world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the IBF Cruiserweight champion of the world, James Waring.
And as James Waring gets ready to go, a fighter that comes in with a record that he hopes will hold up here tonight. Only 13 fights, 12 victories, and only a single loss. 8 by knockouts. He's in the white, and the challenger, Wingfield, is in the red.
Well, at the age of 73, referee Al Rothenberg, definitely the oldest man in the ring, one of the top referees around.
It will be interesting to see who will set the tempo of the fight. Of course, Waring, with that 24-second knockout in the first round, didn't have to set much of a tempo against James Pritchard to win the title in September in Italy. But Wingfield wants to come out a very quiet, competent man from Cleveland, Ohio. Twice as many fights as Waring as they come into this fight tonight.
And Wingfield had a 16-bout winning streak when he first turned pro. Was knocked out by Frank Mitten, won 4 in a row, then got stopped by Kemper Morton. So he's been a hot and cold guy, but he's got to be very, very cautious here in the first 3 rounds. Again, that's when the former kickboxing champ Waring has scored all 8 of his knockouts.
Waring, as we pointed out, a 3-time champion in the kickbox, and I know you had quite a conversation, as did I, on his transition from kickboxing in to traditional boxing. He said it wasn't that difficult.
Well, you know, he says he's not tempted to use his feet. Really, the reason he switched is because of economics. He found that being a world kickboxing champion wasn't paying as well as professional conventional boxing could. So now he's cashed in, he's a world champion, and here's his first title defense. Quite an athlete, former college football star at Eastern Illinois. Had a brief trial with the National Football League Raiders, but was cut. So definitely an all-around agile athlete is James Waring.
Born in South Miami, reared in Richland Hills of that city, where he still resides. His wife, Jean, at ringside. They have 5 children, and the champion right now being stalked around the ring by Donnell Wingfield, who has carried himself quite nicely through round 1 on the feeling out process here of this world title fight.
Well, Wingfield's being cautious, and well, he should.
Big left hand glanced off the shoulder and then the side of the face of the champion. There's that looping right hand, so Wingfield has shown a left and a right with pretty good power behind both.
Well, you notice how Wingfield now, he'll cross his arms. That's the old Archie Moore defense, offensive pose, also well known by Ken Norton, the former heavyweight champion, who also had that crossed arm style. And early on, Mike Tyson had a similar thing.
Well, in the the Cruiserweight Championship fight, they fought through the first round. We'll head for round 2 in just a moment. Round 2, the IBF World Cruiserweight Championship, underway in Roanoke, Virginia. Sam Smith, along with Michael Marley, greeting you tonight. As we move to round 2, Wingfield, the challenger in the red, Waring, the champion in the white. How about the first round there, Michael, unofficial in your card? How'd you score it?
Sorry, Sam. I gave the first round to Wingfield.
And probably rightly so, because he was the man that really kind of took the fight to Waring, and Waring was not able to counter that well, I thought.
Well, if Wingfield was cautious, Waring was even more cautious.
They have both apparently thrown a little caution to the wind as we start round 2. Al Rothenberg, you will understand before this fight is over, is a referee in command, and he will let the fighters know that throughout this fight.
Now that's Wingfield's making a mistake to jump ahead with his punches with his hands down. If he does that, he'll get caught and tagged by the powerful Waring. But right now he's picking off Waring's jab, so has to frustrate Waring a little. They're both still in the feeling out process, Sam.
Their amateur boxing careers do not parallel each other at all. Of course, we mentioned a 3-time world kickbox champion is Waring, but very limited pro boxing or amateur boxing. On the other side, a 47-3 sparkling amateur record by Wingfield, and a fighter that has carried it on nicely with his 21-3-1 record here as a pro. Both weighing just under the 190 limit for the cruiserweights. 188.5 for Waring, the champion. Wingfield at 185 3/4. Not much changes here in round 2, I don't think, Michael.
No, same pattern. You know, Wingfield being from Cleveland, there's not too many pro bouts held around Cleveland, but it's still a good fight town in the sense that a lot of tough guys come out of Cleveland. Rarely will you see a bum or a tomato can, if you will, come fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio. Most of their guys have good, solid amateur careers and are tough cookies.
This will be a very interesting scoring night if indeed we should go the full 12 rounds, with the tempo of the fight right now with Waring not the aggressor, but Wingfield the man that's carrying the fight.
I'm surprised Waring's not doing more jabbing, but then again, Wingfield with that crossed arm defense has picked off his jabs.
You can see the definite height advantage. It is not as dramatic as we thought it might be in the ring. 6'3.5" for the champion, right at about 5'11.5", 6 feet for Wingfield, but there is a 3.5-inch advantage for the champion Waring.
But Wingfield looks to be equally muscular in the upper, especially in the upper body, maybe more muscular. A lot at stake here, Sam, beyond the title. The winner of this fight is projected to fight Thomas Hearns, or the man Hearns defeated for the WBA light heavyweight title, and that is Virgil Hill.
This is round number 3 as we get ready to head for a 12-round schedule tonight. The IBF Cruiserweight Championship, and the champion Waring almost slips and falls here as we start the round. By the way, we are scheduled for 12, the 10-point must system being used here in the scoring of this IBF fight. 3 judges do score at ringside. The 3 knockdown rule has been waived. There's no standing 8, and a fighter cannot, I repeat, cannot be saved by the bell in any round in this title fight tonight.
Well, so far, Sam, the styles just don't mesh well. Wingfield can't figure out Waring and vice versa. By the way, I had the second round even, gave the first round to the challenger, Donnell Wingfield, so I've got it 2019 unofficially in favor of Wingfield.
I think that's probably the way the judges have seen it so far, as again, Wingfield has been the aggressor. Waring trying to challenge, and again, as Michael pointed out early on, is not using the jab at all. Trying to use his quickness just to dodge out of the way here of Wingfield.
Well, I wonder if Waring's been deceived by Wingfield's standing, because Wingfield is only the number 10 rated contender in the IBF, and maybe Waring's a little overconfident, a little too cocky. It can happen.
The cruiserweights exchange right and left combinations, wily as they may be. By the way, this 185 3/4 for Wingfield is very comfortable. He walks around about 192 and was having to work so hard to get down to the weight that he wanted to fight at, the light heavyweight, so he just decided to stay where he is and feels very comfortable at this weight.
He's a true cruiserweight. You look at the long, lanky body of the champion Waring, he looks more like a puffed up light heavyweight.
Tell you what, Wingfield is taking solace in the fact here in this 3rd round that he is able to hit that looping left and right hand.
Well, he has Waring on the run and on the defensive. And Waring's supposed to be the bigger puncher.
24 seconds it took him to win the title. He said if he'd known it was going to be that short, he wouldn't have got so nervous. He knocked out James Pritchard to win the title in Italy in September. The shortest title fight in the history. By the way, the previous short fight was 40 seconds. Lloyd Hannigan knocking out Gene Hatcher for the title. 40 seconds, 1st round.
Well, Waring's a newly crowned champion, Sam, but he's also a late bloomer, got a late start in boxing, and he will very soon, in a matter of days, turn 33. So 33 is old for professional boxing.
Keeps himself in great shape, but right now he's in a little trouble from the challenger here at the end of round 3. Round 4, Roanoke, Virginia. Sam Smith along with Michael Marley from the New York Post as we greet you at ringside here at the Valley Sports Arena. This is the IBF World Cruiserweight Championship. James Waring, the champion, however, from Miami, Florida, may be in a little trouble at the moment. Donnell Wingfield from Cleveland, Ohio, has been able to score and score well through 3 rounds. And he has done it by backing up the champion throughout the first 3 rounds.
Clearly, Waring wants to step in and tag him with some solid shots, but he's having trouble finding the punching room. It's getting a little rough on the inside, Sam. End of round 3, referee Al Rothenberg warned Waring for using his head. They're starting to play rough on the inside.
By the way, James Waring, the champion, is a movie star of sorts. He appeared in 2 movies. In '87, it was called The Opponent. And in 1990, he appeared in a movie called Blood Fist 2. His wife, Jean, and James Waring have 5 lovely children, averaging from 14 down to only 5 months back in Miami. Jean is here at ringside.
Now there's 2 solid shots by Waring, but Wingfield comes back.
Waring, you see he's starting to get some punches in, and in using that quickness and speed to get away from a somewhat prodding Wingfield.
Well, if Waring thought this was going to be an easy first title defense, I think he's sadly mistaken, because Wingfield keeps coming, picks off punches. Really, I'm more impressed by Wingfield's defense so far than his offense, but at least he has both. And again, he does have the edge in both amateur and professional experience.
Champion Waring having 2 of his weapons taken away from his 3 previous titles he won before winning the IBF crown. That, of course, in kickboxing, he no longer can use the roundhouse or the side kick or the front kick as used in kickboxing.
We saw some of that in recent Riddick Bowe Elijah Tillery debacle. However, Tillery's kickboxing cost him the fight.
And probably would have been over pretty soon anyway, but it was over at the end of 1.
I understand Tillery's trying to get a job as a field goal kicker in the National Football League.
There may be a few openings looking at some of the kickers right now. Fight has stayed pretty well status quo until about a minute ago, when James Waring started to pick up some pretty good steam on some punches here.
Waring just landed a crackling left hook, the most solid punch of the fight, and that shows the power of James Waring. I think Wingfield is a little bit hurt. Not just a little bit, I think he's groggy.
He's trying to overpower by push and muscle his way in, but James Waring has taken a little advantage here in the 4th round. Round number 5, scheduled for 12. The IBF World Cruiserweight title on the line. On the left, the champion, James Waring. Donnell Wingfield, the challenger in the red. And has Waring turned the tide here, Michael, in round 5?
Sam, you noted the shift in the tide, so to speak, to Waring. And I gave the last round to Waring. I've got Wingfield up by 1 point now, 39-38 through 4 rounds.
They are scheduled for 12, and of course 3 judges at ringside will do the scoring. Robert Exton from Richmond, also Van de Prade from Richmond, and John Witt, who has refereed some of the preliminary fights here, also from Richmond. Those are the 3 judges scoring. Bill Brennan, the ageless one from Warsaw, Virginia, is of course the IBF supervisor in attendance tonight. And the referee, 28th title fight, Al Rothenberg. And Wingfield, an accumulation of punches, finally in one to the breadbasket, and then one to the right eye, is put him down, and he may not recover.
Not only is he down, he's also cut, bleeding from under the left eye. That's it.
And it's over. James Waring has not only shown his fist, but now showing his kickboxing talents as well. And his wife, Jean Waring, celebrates at ringside as Waring defends his title. The knockout comes in the 5th round, and it is a knockout, as the challenger Wingfield got up on his feet at the count of 9, maybe 10. We'll check for sure. And there is the right uppercut. Wingfield's in trouble and goes down, but it was a right uppercut, the punch that finally brought him down. Another look, and there it is right there. Dug that uppercut to the body, and then it just slid right up under the chin. Rothenberg motions Waring to the neutral corner, and the count starts and it ends in the 5th round.
Some great boxing there.